captain of the Canadiens a year ago yesterday. Your first game as captain was a year ago tonight in the preseason. You said at the time when we spoke with you, Brian, that you weren't going to change much. That, I mean, your situation, the way you play the game, the way you approach a game wasn't going to change. A year after the fact, can you say that that's pretty much been the case?
Yeah, for sure. I think my approach, I guess the whole being hasn't changed at all. You go into the rink, you do your job. You have a few extra meetings or whatnot, and you got to take care of some stuff. But as far as on the ice hockey stuff, it's been pretty much the exact same as it always has.
Has it been a bit of an evolution for you? Did your career, all the things that you did, and some of the leaders that you have worked with through your career, have all those things kind of gone into a melting pot to help you become the captain who you are now?
For sure. I think it's like anything. It's like you learn something little from every coach, no matter what it is. You take things from everybody you've been around. So I've been around some good leaders, obviously, in my NHL career. So to take a little bit from each of them and kind of put it into how you are and how you conduct yourself, for sure you try to do that.
2 years ago when you arrived here, you wore the A. Last year you put on the C. Is there any kind of a difference in how you're regarded in the room and how you look at yourself from the letter that you're wearing on the sweater, or
No, it is pretty much the same. I think from day one, there's always been that group of guys that have kind of been a part of that leadership, and I don't think that's changed much. Obviously, you're the captain, and there's certain responsibilities that go with that. But I think the majority of the leadership comes from a good group of guys, and I think that's great to have. You need a bunch of guys, different voices at different times, and can't be the same person all the time.
Has there been one event in the past year that might have surprised you, that might not have necessarily happened to you if you weren't captain of the Canadiens? Has there been any one thing that just has sort of defined a little bit perhaps your captaincy?
No, I mean, it's just you're walking on the street and my name is no longer Brian, or it's a captain, things like that. You see it in the community, you see it out there, how much importance it is for our fan base and for everybody involved.
How much of a historian of this hockey club were you before you were named captain of the team? Were you aware of some of the guys who had worn the C before you, and aware of a little bit of the history of the club?
Yeah, for sure. But until we came, until you're here and until you're involved, you don't get the true grasp of everything. But it being an NHLer and lifelong dream to play in the NHL, for sure. The Montreal Canadiens are the team that have the most history, and you want to you look back on. There's books about it. You're reading books to your kids, and I think that's the best part. A lot of the history is coming from reading nighttime stories to my son and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool seeing all the stuff that has gone on.
If we went into your home, we know that you were the captain of the Canadiens. Is there a lot of Habs stuff around it? Some hockey players like to when they leave the arena, their life is left at their hockey life is left at the arena. If we walked into your place, would we find a whole lot of trappings of hockey?
Not a whole lot. It's contained for sure. There's certain spots that certain memorable things are put. You walk into my sunroom, it's all hockey. It's the posters from all the magazines. It's the calendar. It's everything in his room. He's a big hockey guy, and that's what he wants to do all the time. So, but if you're just in the regular house, you wouldn't necessarily know.
Is your son's favorite hockey player Brian Gionta? Some guys,
depends what day it is.
Really?
Some days it is. But he goes back and forth. He's got a great imagination, and he'll be anybody in the league. It doesn't have to be just a Canadiens guy, but he does resort back to being on the Canadiens majority of the time.
In the past, Brian, the captain has had very much a hands-on role with his teammates at the rink and away from it. I've heard stories years ago about Jean Beliveau if a teammate was having difficulty away from the rink, be it a business issue during the summertime, or he had a squabble with his girlfriend or his wife. The captain was always just a phone call away. Some people would say that the captaincy of an NHL team nowadays is a little more symbolic. There's still work involved in the community, but if you were the C, and I don't think that the captain's C on your jersey makes you any more or less of a go-to guy in the room for leadership? How would you define your responsibilities as captain of this team?
I think obviously, like any teammate, you're available, and if somebody's going through things, you're there for them. It doesn't necessarily have to be the captain, but I think in today's world, the stuff away from the rink, be it with your teammates, not necessarily in the community, but be it with your teammates. You have certain bonds with certain players that go deeper than just your teammates, and that's natural. You get along with people better, and I think that may be a little different from times past. But I think as far as looking for sparks and looking for when things are down and trying to maybe that composure, I think that's where you look to the guy who is your captain, I guess, on your team. Things aren't going well, things start spiraling the wrong way. It's for you to kind of write things and calm things down and get things settled down.
If you needed advice on an issue, if you were perhaps a little puzzled or just searching for a bit of an answer, is there one guy in that room that you would go to sit down and say, look, I just need to pick your brain on something?
No, there's not just one guy. Like I've said, there's that group. You got Georges and Gil, and you got Markey and Gomer and Cammy. You got a lot of old veteran guys that have experience, and by no means do I have all the answers. That's what I mean. It's a collaborative effort on most times, and on most things. It's a group of us making decisions or trying to figure things out.
Is that the way of a modern NHL team, a little bit of leadership by committee? Do you think the day is past that there is sort of one guy and his two alternate captains who are sort of at the very top of that pyramid and then everything falls down? Or is it the responsibility of every guy in that room to have a little bit of a say?
I think that's what you want. You want that responsibility. You want guys to be active, and I think that brings kind of that camaraderie around. Everyone thinks that they're playing a part in the team, and I think that's important.
Talk about your responsibilities in the community and I guess what the team needs of its captain. You certainly become a bit of on the ship. You're the figurehead on that ship, right? You're the face of this organization in a lot of ways. How has that impacted your life in the past year?
As far as going out in the community, it's no different. The things that I felt strongly about, charities and whatnot, still involved with and different events that the team has. You're definitely, you go to those and you're definitely a figurehead for the players and on behalf of the players or whatnot. But not much has changed. It's being here and having the history and going through the 100th anniversary was quite special, and so any of the events after that kind of pale in comparison.
Was the timing of your arrival perfect for you to come in literally at that moment when the team was celebrating the centennial and everything else? Some people said it was a distraction and it just took too much for the players. It took them away from the job at hand, but others said that they wouldn't want to trade that for anything.
No, definitely not. To be a part of that and be a part of that history, you look at the big picture we had with all the old players, old alumni that came in, and you see yourself in that picture, and it's very humbling to, Belleville and Bowman was behind me, and it's just, it sent shivers up your spine, and it's just one of those things that, to be a part of that history is pretty special, and it was an awesome event.
Are the demands on your time reasonable? Do you ever have occasion where the team asks you to do something and you say, look, I need some other time for myself and my family? For some guys, being a single man might have more time to go out and do some things. You've got a couple of young kids, you've got a family, you've got other things going on in your life. How difficult is it to sometimes try to mesh all these things together?
Well, that's the balance. For myself, there needs to be that balance. Hockey is my life, it's my job, it's what you strive to do. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're getting that time with your family, and that's the most important thing is your family time. So the team is great. They don't put too many demands that can't be met. And I think their focus is to make sure that things are stable and that your family's taken care of too. It's a big part of the balance that needs to happen in order to be successful.
How valuable a process was it not to have a captain named before last season, to go the full year, that centennial year, without a captain. I mean, it was obviously an historic year for the Canadiens, but it was also an historic event in the fact that there was no man wearing the C that year. Was that a good thing in hindsight?
I think it was. I think it worked out well. There's so many new guys that off season, and I think there's a big overhaul of the roster. You know, everyone needed to come together, and personalities needed to mesh, and we needed to see how kind of things played out. And I think it was a great thing to have.
How vocal a leader are you? Are you the kind of guy how often are you going to have to raise your voice in that room?
Well, it happens throughout the year. There's times when things aren't going right, or that you need to be that guy. It's definitely not my first instinct. You know, my thing is to lead by example and go out there and play a hard game and kind of do the right things. And lead a life on and off the ice that you know, teammates can kind of follow.
How are guys going to know that they are not necessarily being accountable? Are you the kind of guy who's just going to have a raised eyebrow, or is it going to be a look, or is it going to be just something that you're going to say?
I think at different times it's a little both. Depends who you talk to, I guess. But right. You know, I think, like I said, if something needs to be said, you definitely have to say it, and that's part of the role. You know, and sometimes it is just a look, you know, like, listen, we need to get on board, everybody needs to be on board, and let's get this going. And I think guys, all the guys do it to each other. They police ourselves, we police ourselves, but there's definitely times you have to do it.
Are you a good listener?
Absolutely. I think, you know, anyone can bring anything to me, and I try to analyze everything and go from there.
Have your listening skills changed in the past year? Are you the kind of guy who's now going to maybe be a little more receptive to hearing things, or is this, again, just a matter of...
No, it's just a matter of me going about my business. I think that's what I've tried to do, is just continue to do what I've done my whole career, and you know, it may not always be the right way, but it's the way that I know.
Is your son aware of the captaincy? Does he know that his dad's the captain of the Montreal Canadiens?
Yeah, he knows. I don't know if he knows what a big deal it is, but he knows that I am the captain for sure.
Okay, what would be the most interesting piece of Montreal Canadiens memorabilia that's in his room right now?
Well, he's got a little Montreal Canadiens Stanley Cup piggy bank. He's got the calendar up, where I think Cammy's on it now. So he's got everything Montreal. It's all Montreal. His jerseys, he's got all the centennial jerseys and stuff like that. You know.
You come from a market where there are lots of other events. There are basketball teams, and there's Major League Baseball, and the NFL is huge. Basketball, I mean, and just all these different things going on. In Montreal, it is the Montreal Canadiens 13 months of the year. Some players like to run away from that. I mean, you talk to some of the, prospective free agents who just would say, look, it wouldn't be too bad to go and live out in California and put my sandals on and go to the beach and not worry about that. In Montreal, I mean, the weather, of course, isn't going to let you do that, but at the same time, this city, you cannot be invisible in any way, shape, or form, in any fashion in Montreal. Has it surprised you in the time that you've been here how this city doesn't just embrace hockey, but sometimes obsess about it?
It doesn't surprise me. Coming here and playing here, you got a feel for it. But definitely it is an everyday thing, and it doesn't matter where you are. People are out and recognizing you, and you know what? For myself, it's a great thing. That's why the fans are so passionate. That's why we have such a great base. That's why we're so popular here. Is that the people follow us and they're interested in us, and that's a great thing to have. To have that support. At times, you'd like to get away, but it's part of it, and it's. We have the summertime that is family time, and we like to get away for part of it.
Are you able to get away from it? When you leave this building, or when you leave the Bell Center at the end of a game, can you pretty much leave hockey? How long does it take you to be able to just let everything drain out and realize that one is done, and I can do nothing about that one if it was a bad game, and let's move on, and tomorrow is a fresh day? Does it take you a long time?
No, not at all. You walk in that door, and the kids don't matter whether you won or lost or how things are going. You're just their dad, and so that helps things a lot. And I found it very healthy to get away from it and get away from the game and not obsess about it too much. There's times where you have to, analyze and you go over film and stuff like that. But the most part, you do that at the rink. You try not to bring it home with you too much.
As we sit here tonight, this afternoon we have the Canadiens are 1-6 in the preseason. Haven't been lighting the league on fire, but there's also a great catalog of teams that have done extraordinarily well in the preseason and then not done terribly well at all in the regular season, and vice versa. When you look at the performance of the team so far, are you looking for the small things at this point? Are you looking for chemistry, cohesion? Do results necessarily matter, or fans panicking long before they should be in the city?
Well, I mean, results matter. I mean, and we're competitive people. We're not in this position if you're not competitive. So it does. It has been a tough preseason for us, but ultimately you have to look at it in a few stages. And the first 6 games or so, we're kind of feeling out our prospects, and we had a lot of half lineups where there's a lot of young guys getting good looks and good chances. And I think this last night and tomorrow night coming up Saturday are big keys to this preseason.